Okay, I'll call I can't believe it's April already, Park Board meeting to order. The first thing, Deb, you want to do the roll call?
Sure. Pat Casanova,
Here.
Don Buchholz.
Here.
Tori Boomza.
Here.
Boomza. Karen Nessett, absent. Mike Kennedy,
Here.
and Karen Stankovitz, absent. Karen Nessett did say she was attending, so she's probably coming.
Okay, we have a quorum. The packet contained the minutes. Anybody have any changes, corrections, or omissions that they saw in there? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. First item we have is comments from the citizens. Is there anyone who wanted to bring anything forward to the Park Board at this time that's not on our regular agenda items?
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, our new business.
This way we have one that wants.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. I got a chance to introduce myself to most of you. My name's Talia Tajima. I live here in Hudson, and for the past couple of years, I've been communicating on and off with Tori and the various city council members about the lack of Veterans Memorial in our community. And Tori stated that she was bringing it to the Parks Board in January, and it sounded like it got approval. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the meeting because I was sick. Prior to that, she stated that one of the things that the board here was wanting was the support of a community veterans group, so I got to work right away, and I connected with Mr. Felton over here with All the Way Home, Inc. He is a 27-year veteran in special ops. So thank him for his service. And I also have my Amanda and Jason over here as well. They're also two local veterans. And once it was approved by the board here, we started getting to work on our end to come together with mock-ups and thoughts and feedback directly from the veterans in our community. Because again, at the end of the day, if you're going to be building a veterans memorial, it should be the veterans' voice that is at the center of the decisions being made and where it's being built.
Item B under new. Okay. Keep going.
You're fine.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Mr. Felton connected me with a Navy veteran by the name of John Kane, who came up with an initial mock-up. It's very rough at this point. I ran out of printer ink, so I only have one. So I can hand that over. The feedback we've been getting from the various veterans I've spoken to, as well as businesses downtown within the community, has unanimously stated that they want to see this memorial installed in Lakefront Park. So when you walk through the archway where it says Hudson, if you look to your south, there's the lone flagpole there. That is the specific location that everyone has unanimously stated was floated Prospect Park, or just recently it was stated that maybe there's 7 acres, we could do a whole park over it. And again, I reached back to my veterans and they all said the same thing. Nope, that would feel disrespectful to them, because they feel that would be it'd be more about us as community members saying, look how patriotic we are, and less about honoring their service. Because it would be precluding accessibility to our disabled and elderly vets. It would be tucking it away out of public purview for the most part. The other thing that was shared, and why this is such a simple plan, is the veterans that I've spoken to have all, including my husband and my son, have all stated they prefer something simple and meaningful versus something huge, pompous, and grandiose. So in this plan here, we would be building off what's already existing. We would be widening that initial pathway into the circle around the flagpole to where it could be ADA compliant, so our disabled and elderly veterans would be able to access it. We would be installing 4 additional benches that would be facing the river, so it wouldn't be blocking any purview. The existing bench that's already there, I reached out and come to find out that's this lovely lady's father, and he served a good term in the National Guard as well, so that would be great to continue to have that there, so there would be no need to move that. The circle around the flag itself would be widened out once again to be ADA compliant, and within that circle, we would be getting medallions created for each of the branches insignia. So Army, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, Marines, and so on, would be placed in equal measure around. On the approach, there will be a compass stamped into the cement with some sort of phrase, no matter where you are, we are always appreciative of your service. With potentially, the only thing missing is a little obelisk on either side that would be about waist high. That would have a plaque on one, but that would be a replica of the Table for the Fallen, which would be honoring our killed in action, missing in action, and POWs of war. And on the other side, it would be a memorial that we'd tap Operation 23-0, honoring the lives of those who lost their lives, our veterans who lost their lives to suicide when they came home because the war continued. And next to the flagpole itself, it would be just very simple, low maintenance, comes back every year, landscaping that would be put in. And in the front part of the landscaping, there would be a small plaque on a garden stake where we would tap a veteran in our community from each branch to write out a meaningful quote or phrase that reflects their service. And so that would be placed directly in front of the Air Force with the Air Force, Army with the Army, and so forth. And to date, there has not been a single negative comment. Every vet I've spoken to has been extremely excited about this. They love the mock-up. They love the simplicity of it because they want it to be a place of reflection and not a place of grandeur, a place where they can bring our children and our grandchildren and sit and take a moment in silence and reverence for our veterans, for what they've done for us and for our community, and taking the view of the beautiful river and the sunset. It was suggested, well, maybe during the fireworks sessions, we could have that saved for, special seating for our elderly and disabled vets, because a lot of times they don't even get to go to the fireworks displays because there's lack of access for them. So, and that's
Okay.
about where we're at right now.
Okay, thank you.
And I can send around the little.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So we'll come back to this under item B in the agenda then, under old business.
Right.
Okay. Okay, item A is discussion and possible action, approve the proposal for Studio EA in the amount of $19,500 for architectural engineering services to replace the Williams Park restroom.
Yep, so this is in the 2023 CIP to replace the restroom at Williams Park. The current facility is in very, very poor condition, and it was identified to replace. So I went out and contacted 2 engineering firms to put together plans, specifications, and construction documents. And the low quote that was received back was from Studio EA in Hudson here in the amount of $19,500. We have budgeted $175,000 to put towards this project. So with that being said, if we were to approve Studio EA tonight, we would have approximately, $155,000 for a new facility, which would be, I haven't bid a project out this year, but I would assume that it would be close to the amount of money that we'd need to build something similar like we have up in Anderson Park, which is kind of what I brought forward before. So with that being said, staff is recommending approval of the proposal received from Studio EA.
So that's the total cost for rebuilding that one
Yep.
bathroom?
So this would cover design. It would cover putting together the plans and specifications, and then it would also include pay app requests from the contractor, punch list items, so on and so forth. So then basically what would happen is if this is approved here tonight and then at Finance and Council, is it would direct Studio EA, we probably bring them in May, so that they can have a discussion with Park Board as far as what you want to see at that facility. And then based on those conversations, they'll put together all the plans, and then that'll go out to bid, and then we'll receive the bids back, and that's what will be the big.
Oh, that's the remainder of the
That'll be
fees.
the
Okay,
big.
okay,
yeah, the
gotcha,
big
all
one.
right, thank you.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Anybody have any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Now, the other item we have under B there is the in the packet was a PDF that had come, so it was by Luke, I'm sorry, Luke, I didn't come with a name there.
Oh, he didn't come in there?
That's in, yeah.
Luke was the one who provided it, right? Phoebe? Yeah,
Oh, it's in there.
Yeah. So
is he here?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
No, he's not.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if he was coming to the meeting at all.
Yeah. So we received a memorial application from Luke Spivey. It's in memoriam of, let's see, Thomas Gerlach. And Thomas Gerlach lived across the street from Prospect Park. And Luke Spivey would like to purchase and install a memorial bench in Prospect Park near the playground in memory of Thomas. And staff would, work with Luke on a location, but he kind of indicated that he wanted to be around the playground, which is a perfect location because we need benches around playgrounds. And so with that being said, staff is recommending approval of this memorial application.
I'll move to approve.
I second.
Any further discussion? Anyone have any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Under old business, we've got discussion of possible action and approve the Lakefront Park heritage banners and design.
Yep, so, so we have representation here from the organizations that are bringing forward this proposal. At one of our last couple meetings, the park board approved them to go out and bring back some draft designs, and they have done that. And so in the packet was a breakdown of the photos and the language that would be used to kind of give the park board an idea of what these are going to look like. Now, from my understanding, they're going to be placed along the Lakefront Park Trail. Will they be placed out onto the Toll Bridge Road at all? No, in Lakefront Park and stay on the trail, okay? So with that being said, they're here to answer any questions that you might have, and obviously, if you had a chance to review the proposal, offer any insight as far as what you felt about the drafts that they brought forward.
Does anybody have any questions of them at this point, after having looked through the materials?
They look great.
They look good.
And we did go, the Historical Society, we did go through the flags and just kind of correct some of the language to represent appropriate wording of tribes and the Native Americans and things like that to make sure that everything was appropriate. And we're in love with the flag, so
Good.
to tell you.
Is there a motion to
So moved.
I'll second.
move in second? Any further questions or anything at this time?
And I know I was the stickler last time, but, so these are all going to be mounted on the poles, and we're going to stay away from the arch.
Right, it's going to be spaced along the walkway.
Are these put in any particular order at all or not? Have you thought about that?
Yes, they are. They're
Those will be the
They are in
order.
order.
That is the
Yeah,
order that we saw.
the growth of Hudson.
made sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that does make sense.
What about the arms? Are the arms on these for the mounting arms?
No, so that would have to be purchased as well,
Okay,
the
okay.
hardware to mount these, yes.
And Don will install them.
So that'll have to be, something that we'll have to discuss in the future. Is that something that you're expecting the city to install, or is that, no, okay, all right,
Right, Derek would install.
okay,
So we purchase the hardware and install.
okay.
You purchase and install, and then we put them out, and then we take them down in the winter, do you think?
No, it's,
Sorry. Mary Claire from the Chamber and Tricia from Christensen Creative.
You're here, you might as well come
Yeah.
up. and
May
show
as well
your
take the
face.
opportunity to take the
Right.
podium, right? So,
Yes.
so Tricia and her team have designed them, working with the Octagon and the Historical Society on the wording and so forth, and then, so we will purchase the hardware, we will install the hardware, and once the banners go up, that's not, hopefully a matter of taking them down will just be if they,
Okay.
it's very windy down there, so we want to be sure the hardware that we look at will work with the wind and such down there. But the goal is that they will just stay up, and we will only take them down if we had to repair one or replace one. Right? They're not going to change, right?
Okay.
That's a year-round thing? I mean, in the winter?
is.
Okay, good. I'd suggest that.
Well, I just thought I'd add too, the second step of this is for us to create an audio. which will be phenomenal. So when people are walking through the park, they can download the QR code.
Yes, and then hear more of the story. So we'll have more opportunities for the Historical Society to give us more language. But there'd be more for each banner, which would be really great for people to hear more of the story. But if you just do the walking tour, you get a really nice snippet of Hudson's history.
Neat, very neat. Yeah, I think they turned out great. You did a great job on them.
There's 23 in all.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. And someone counted the polls, right? We
Yes.
have, okay. All right. Want to make sure we got enough spots for them all.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Need a motion
Thank you.
to approve.
We got
We're
it.
good.
We did.
Okay, we did. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So then the other item we have is B is the formalization of the Memorial Committee, then to work with them and with the Veterans Group to bring this all together and come forward.
Well, I have a question on that now then. So would we be continuing on, if we had the Veterans Group create that memorial down at the park, would we still want to create, at Lakefront, would we still want to move ahead with a memorial park up by the new baseball field up in that area, still as a community memorial center instead of just constantly placing memorials down at Lakefront Park? Would we still want to move ahead with a memorial park?
I thought so.
Okay. I would like to. I think it
Yeah.
would be,
Yeah, that
still
was-
think it would be
Yeah.
a very nice thing to do, to allow people to create their own memorial, within limit, but create their own memorial to people, or to their loved ones in one area. And to make it still a community-centered, community-built park.
Yes.
Okay. Then I would be happy to create a subcommittee for
And
that.
share that. And I think it's a committee that will have, that you can have park board members as well as general citizenry on.
Right, yeah.
With it.
For sure, yeah, it's going to be a
Yeah.
big project, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think we'll need a lot of, voices.
But then that also, by having this, it authorizes city staff to put the
To
time.
be involved, right.
To being involved with
Yep.
it and spending their time doing that as well.
So then let's just tackle one thing at a time. So for the memorial park that Tori is recommending and proposing, you still want to formalize a subcommittee to work through that, what that would look like?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
What it look like, what we have for a site, what other things we
Right.
want to do into the future.
Okay.
And pretty much do a master plan for it like we
Okay.
have other parks.
Okay.
So that it's in the plan, so that as funding and the like comes up for it, we have it all ready
We're
to be
ready to
able
go.
So when the land
Go for
does, when the city does accept the land, obviously it's a large area, we would bring on probably an outside consultant to help develop this plan.
Mm-hmm.
That subcommittee would help with those discussions and
Yes.
report back to the park board, so on and so forth type
Yeah.
of thing. Okay,
Yep.
all right.
And
That
then
would-
would there be projections, 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
That would be the, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would
Okay.
think so, yeah.
Okay.
And so just to be clear, our earlier speaker mentioned the Veterans Memorial. So this is almost a formal break of kind of what you and I spoke about. of
Initially, right.
Trying to do, maybe that was too much in one. And rewinding the tape, I think you mentioned that we approved, I think you used the word you noticed that we approved the Veterans Memorial, something like that. I thought you mentioned that. In general, yeah, move
Yes,
forward
in
with
general.
this, okay.
Yes,
There was no plan at the time, and that's
Right, okay. So, but even with that concept, that's still in the starting concept, we're not totally,
We already have.
those are two separate things.
We have a patio and landscape individual that's ready to volunteer all of their work. To reaching out to their suppliers to have the supplies donated for all the installation. Rotary wants me to present to them so they can show their support behind it. That's in June. Big Eye Park, I think we're saying, had mentioned something
Good.
about potentially doing meat raffle.
Yeah, a
Okay.
lot of oars in the water. But again, just that, so this is almost two different
this would be,
directions.
this would be
Yep.
two separate
Yes,
things
yep,
then,
just to
no,
be
yeah,
clear.
we'd have to separate a Veterans Memorial up at the Memorial Park. And then since we could probably still have something up
Yeah.
at Memorial Park, but as maybe more as a city
Yeah,
piece, and then they would have the Veterans Memorial down at Lakefront Park as well. So we might
Okay.
end up with two separate, this would, yeah, the park itself would be a whole different beast
Yep.
than what's down at Lakefront.
Okay.
That's how I'm seeing it
Thanks for
now.
clarifying that, yeah.
So what I would recommend then for the veterans group that came forward tonight is to, if the board is okay with that, to basically tell them to go ahead and finalize, bring up more of a finalized plan back to park board in the future, whenever they're ready. That'd be May, June, July, whenever they're comfortable. A more detailed rendition of what it was gonna look like. I know there was talk about like having sayings in the, around the memorial. We want to make sure that everybody's comfortable for what's being out there, right, on the park board. But then they would come back and bring back the full package, which you could review and approve, and then that kind of gives them the green light to
move ahead.
Okay. If
Yeah.
everybody
With
was
those
okay
all
with that.
written out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, yep.
I would say then, yeah, why don't you guys do that, come up with your full plan, and then present it to us, and
We
let's
can
have,
kind of look at some of the other ones that we've done, because, the steps that are involved and what they want to see in the packet so that they can make the best decision. Because if you have to keep going back and forth,
it'll drag out, yeah.
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 Mhm. Yep, so we're going to want it more in a presentation type of packet. There you go.
Great, well, good.
Good.
So we'll form an actual subcommittee,
Subcommittee, yep.
be under that.
our-
And
for
if
the
we have
park.
anybody from the audience who wants to be a member of that group, please come forward, and we'd love to have you on the group and recognize you for it, and the same with park board members, if any of
Yeah,
you'd like
because
to
I
be
think
on.
in my vision of the Memorial Park is a place for all of the community to create a memorial to whomever. Yeah, and build the park that way.
Yes.
Like a community built, yeah, okay.
So is there anybody from the park board that wants to be on that larger?
I will be on the
Okay.
subcommittee.
Is there anybody else? Yep.
And Pam Brokaw did say she'd be,
Pam did
Pam
offer.
wanted to be on it as well.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Can I just ask, what park did you mention that this is going to go in?
The projected park up at the dog
dog
track.
the old dog.
The old dog track location.
There's some parkland that's going to be
It's a future.
future.
So do we need a motion to create that subcommittee? You want that?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have a motion to create that subcommittee under the Memorial Committee.
So moved.
Make the motion and second it.
Well, I make a motion
Okay,
to create.
Don seconded.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'm sorry, I missed who's on there? You're on there?
Me.
Don?
No, I think Pam.
Just you and Pam.
Me and Pam. Do you want to be on there?
Sure.
Yep, Mike's on there.
Okay.
You're like the eye contact, so you are
Yeah,
automatically
there you
on
go.
there.
Well, pick someone else from my side.
Might as well toss me on there as well.
And
Yeah.
as far as timeline is concerned on that,
Right?
the development of that property,
Toss me
obviously,
on there as well.
it's nothing that's going to be anytime soon.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Right. expect
expect anything this year or next year. It's going to be a long process by the time we acquire that property, because there's certain things that the developer needs to meet in order for us to accept that property. So, I mean, this is a long-term play here. And so once we do acquire the property and start planning, for the development of it, that's when things will really start to ramp up for that subcommittee.
Right.
But at least you can kind of start thinking about it, formalize it. If you have any other thoughts on who might be interested, or once it's out in kind of the public, maybe if someone has interest, that we could bring them on board, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is also probably a good reason for the new Veterans Memorial to be separate now.
Correct.
Because it'll be able to have motion, they'll be able to move ahead,
Yeah.
and not be
Yeah.
stagnant.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
Okay, project updates.
All right. I got two of them. Well, two of them. First one is a spring flood outlook. So we've been paying very close attention to what the river is going to do this spring, just because of the amount of snow, record levels of snow that we received this past season. And barring any huge rain, storms, or anything over the weekend, it looks like the river is going to crest at about 689. Beginning on, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that it might probably stay there for quite some time, just because they still have 2 to 3 feet of snow up north. at 289. Buckeye Garage is underwater. Other things that are underwater are Front Street and the Lake Malibu Dam. The water just basically comes up to the level of the Malibu Dam, so it kind of starts to spill back into Lake Malibu. But with that being said, at the beginning of this season, the prognosis was very dire, and to see that the levels are where they're going to get is very favorable for the city. Not saying that, 689 is considered a major flood, but it could have been a lot worse. And hopefully, knock on wood, like I said, we don't get a lot of precipitation over the next couple of weeks. Staff has been busy clearing out Buckeye Garage, turning off the power, emptying the garage of anything that we need to get out of there, plugging all the drains, so on and so forth. We are going to be moving the new docks that were installed in Lakefront Park. So by the end of this week, we're going to mosey them down to the marina and tie them up, just because the spud poles allow those docks to float up to about 687, 688 is probably the peak. With the river going a foot higher than that, I'm afraid of it pulling the spuds out of the bottom and floating down somewhere. So we want to get those out of there, and so we're going to be doing that here this week too, to preserve those. But like I said, it could have been a lot worse earlier. Prognosis. Then the second thing that I have on the agenda is just to let everybody know of the 2023 Arbor Day celebration. The Hudson Urban Forestry Board is going to be celebrating on Saturday, April 29th. It's going to be at the First Presbyterian Church in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we're going to move that down to Lakefront Park, and Boy Scout troops are going to help mulch around some existing trees. Probably going to purchase a couple trees to replant some of the damage that we lost a couple years ago. So just want to let you know that we'll be active in the park for Arbor Day. And then the last thing that I'll touch on that wasn't on the agenda is restrooms. So the water department is installing the backflow preventers and meters starting tomorrow. They'll be taking samples and hopefully have the bacteria counts by Thursday or Friday, which means that beginning next week we will start to opening up restrooms, and we're going to open up Grandview Park, Anderson Park, and White Camp Park to begin. And we're going to wait to see what the river does before we start tackling the boat launch, so on and so forth. My hope is that the water comes down before opener. Opener is on the same weekend, the 29th. Fingers crossed, hopefully we'll have, the water recedes. I'm not holding my breath, but we'll see. But we'll slowly continue to open up the other ones as we're able.
But as of now, the boat launch will be closed.
As of now, the boat launch will be closed. It's closed right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, right now, we'll
I'm
open it for the opener if we can.
If we can. If the waters get down to where 683 or 4 by that time, we'll look at opening it for opener.
Okay.
So we'll see. It all depends
Yeah.
on, like I said, how much rainfall we get over the next couple of weeks will determine that.
Any other questions about projects or updates on any of the parks?
No, just a heads up that April 29th is prom, so the lakefront will probably be very busy.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you. Well, they can grab a shovel and help plant a tree too, right?
Yeah, right.
Anybody have anything for future agendas? If not, is there,
Move to adjourn?
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.